YouTube and welcome back to my kitchen. It's actually the next morning. I could not force myself to stand up for another minute, so last night was part 1 of party prep. That day I made 2 different kinds of vegetarian pinwheels, and today I'm going to be making some spice cupcakes with cream cheese icing. I've already got all my dry ingredients ready. That's what I'm going to start with today. So after preheating my oven to 350, which is heating up now, and I've got a cupcake liner lined with some parchment paper so that I can get those out of my pan easily. It's time to go ahead and get started on the dry ingredients. The first step to these cupcakes is that I'm going to mix together the flour, baking powder, baking soda, salt, and the spices. This is not enough flour, so I'm going to have to open a new bag. And I don't know if you've noticed this about any of my videos, but anytime I'm baking anything, the dry ingredients, with the exception of the spices, I always level off. That's because baking is kind of a science and you really want to make sure you've got the right amount in there. When it comes to the flavoring, the vanilla, later I'll be using cinnamon and nutmeg and things like that, I don't level off. I make sure to use heaping measurements of whatever flavoring I'm using. I just think it makes for a better product in the end. Alright, I've got my 1.5 cups of flour. Half a teaspoon each of baking powder and baking soda. And half a teaspoon of salt. You always want to make sure you add at least a little bit of salt to anything sweet you're making. It just really enhances the flavor. Now for our spices. Half a teaspoon of cinnamon. 1/4 teaspoon of ginger. 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1/4 teaspoon of cloves. Now I had the idea to also add some cardamom in here because I know that's a little bit of a sweet spice and I think it would go really well with these. I'm going to mix this together real quick and see how it smells and then make the decision as to whether or not I want to add that. It smells good already. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit. I'll just do 1/8 teaspoon to be on the safe side. Alright, now that our dry ingredients are mixed really well, I'm going to sort of clean up my area a little bit and we'll break out the wet ingredients. So into our mixture here, we're going to want to add 1 cup of unsalted butter, that's 2 sticks. 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, 1/2 cup of light brown sugar, which I don't have light brown sugar, so I'm going to make my own using extra white sugar and molasses. 1/2 cup of sour cream, which is important because not only does it add an extra source of fat for moisture, it also has an acidic content to it, so that will help keep those cupcakes nice and tender. 2 large eggs at room temperature, I took them out of my fridge this morning, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm going to see how much molasses this is when I get it all mixed together, and I might add more, but we will see. Okay, I did go ahead and add a little bit more molasses. I'm going to go ahead and scrape the sides of my bowl, and we're going to move on with our next ingredients. Next I'm going to add my 1/2 cup of sour cream. I think I'll probably be finishing off this container, which is great. Two eggs. Go ahead and mix this together. and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now I went a little out of order, not a huge deal, but I should have added about half of the dry mixture before the sour cream. I'm gonna go ahead and add the dry mixture and mix until it's well incorporated. I'm going to scrape down the sides one more time just to make sure everything is well incorporated, but this batter looks absolutely beautiful. It smells heavenly, and I'm really hoping I can get more than 12 cupcakes out of this recipe. The directions say to line 12 cupcake liners. Actually, it says muffins, so maybe I will be able to get more because muffins tend to be a little bit bigger than cupcakes. And let's get these portioned out. I'm only going to try to fill these about half to 3/4 of the way full, but I want to make sure that they are filled evenly so that I don't have huge cupcakes some places and really tiny ones other places. The tiny ones are going to be dry and too brown, and the big ones might be just a little bit undercooked on the center. So consistency is key. Don't mind my cat, it's time for her to eat. 1 minute ago. It's like she can tell time. Well, I am super happy because I was hoping to get at least 18 to 24 cupcakes out of this recipe, and I got 24. This one in the corner is just a little bit smaller, but I think it'll be okay. That can be my taste testing cupcake. And since my oven is already preheated, I'm going to put both of these muffin tins, cupcake tins, in my oven for about 12 to 15 minutes. I think that'll be about how long it takes to finish off the cupcakes. While these are cooling, while these are baking and cooling, I'm gonna wash some dishes and then get our icing ready, so I'll take you along for the icing. Well, these just came out of the oven. It took exactly 15 minutes, and I am super happy with how they came out. They have a slight dome, but they're not too overfilled. They're pretty much all the same size, and they are cooked perfectly inside. I did the toothpick test. So while these cool, I'm going to let these cool for a few minutes in the pans, and I'm going to get their icing ready. These need to cool absolutely completely before you try to ice them, or the icing will run straight off. So I'm going to go ahead and get that started while these cool, and we will be back shortly. Alright, now that those cupcakes are cooling on the rack, I'm going to put this extra one away. It's time for probably the easiest part, which is the cream cheese icing. This is just a block of cream cheese, a stick of butter, some vanilla, and you bulk it up with powdered sugar. I've gone through 3 blocks of cream cheese in 24 hours. Alright, the butter. Let's go ahead and get this mixing, and then once that's nice and creamy, I'll add the vanilla. Now I have this leftover bag of powdered sugar from the last time I made cupcakes, so I'm going to start with that, and then I've got a whole unopened bag to finish off. I won't use the whole other bag, but I can use whatever I need to get enough icing to ice 2 dozen cupcakes. I'm going to go ahead and scrape down the sides of my bowl. It's pretty close to 3 cups of powdered sugar, I think, maybe just a little bit more. We'll see how much this makes. Just scrape my bowl again, and then I'll give it a little taste test, because in my opinion the ratio of powdered sugar to fat, whether it be butter or cream cheese or whatever you're using, is really important because you don't really want a super powdery taste. You still want it to taste rich, like it has plenty of, in this case, cream cheese, because I'm making cream cheese icing. So I'll go ahead and give this a little bit more of a mix, and then I'm going to taste it. I'm going to add a little bit more powdered sugar. I want to make sure I've got plenty of icing for all the cupcakes. It's getting pretty sweet, so I'm going to call it there. And I'm going to let this sit until I'm ready to ice the cupcakes. I'm going to go ahead and get dressed and make some coffee so that when these are done, I'm ready to go to work. Hopefully I remember to get some finished pictures of everything for my thumbnail, but if I don't, I apologize in advance. So I will be back after I get these iced, and I will see you in a few minutes.
And as a finishing touch, I'm just going to dust the top of these with a little bit of cinnamon, just for some decoration and a little pop of flavor, and that is all that it takes to make these cupcakes. So simple, I was able to get it done before work. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this recipe, and if you give it a try. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. It lets me know to keep making content like this. And if you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe. I've got a lot of videos in the works, and they will be coming out pretty soon. I like to try to upload 1 to 2 per week. So hit that subscribe button. You'll get notified when I come out with new videos, and I'll see you around next time. Bye, guys.